Imagine a world consumed by wickedness, a time when humanity had lost its way. In this world lived one man, Noah, who found grace in the eyes of God. The story of Noah's Ark, found in the book of Genesis, is one of the most famous and captivating tales in history. But is it just a story? Or could there be more to it? Today, we re-diving deep into the legend of the Great Flood and the colossal vessel that saved life on earth. Let's start with the basics. According to the biblical account, God saw the corruption of the world and decided to cleanse it with a cataclysmic flood. He instructed Noah, a righteous man, to build a massive ark. The dimensions given were specific: 300 cubits long, 50 cubits wide, and 30 cubits high. A cubit is an ancient unit of measurement, roughly the length from an elbow to the tip of the middle finger. If we translate that, the ark would have been about 450 feet long, 75 feet wide, and 45 feet high. That's 1.5 football fields long. It was a 3-story vessel, built from gopher wood and sealed inside and out with pitch. God's command was clear. Noah was to bring his wife, his 3 sons, and their wives into the ark, but they wouldn't be alone. He was also instructed to bring 2 of every kind of living creature, male and female, to keep them alive. For clean animals and birds, he was to bring 7 pairs. This was a monumental task, an incredible feat of logistics. How could one family gather so many animals from all corners of the world? And how could they all fit? Let's break down the space. The ark's total volume would have been around 1.5 million cubic feet. That's equivalent to about 500 standard railroad stock cars. Studies have shown that this would be more than enough space to house pairs of all known species of land animals and birds. Skeptics often point to the sheer number of species, which runs into the millions. However, proponents of the story suggest that the term kind in the original text might refer to broader family groups, not every single species we classify today. For example, instead of every type of dog, cat, and bear, Noah might have brought a dog kind, a cat kind, and a bear kind, from which modern species later diversified. This significantly reduces the number of animals needed. But building the ark was just the beginning. Imagine the scene. For 120 years, Noah and his family toiled, constructing this gigantic ship on dry land, far from any ocean. People must have mocked them, questioning their sanity. Yet Noah persisted, driven by his faith. When the ark was finally complete, the animals began to arrive, seemingly guided by a divine hand. 2 by 2, they boarded the vessel, from the smallest insects to the largest land mammals. Then, the floodgates of the heavens opened, and the springs of the great deep burst forth. It rained for 40 days and 40 nights. The water rose relentlessly, covering the hills and then the highest mountains. Everything on dry land perished. Only Noah, his family, and the creatures inside the ark survived, floating on the endless expanse of water. For 150 days, the ark was their entire world, a floating sanctuary amidst a global catastrophe. Life inside the ark must have been a daily challenge. Feeding and caring for thousands of animals is a task that would overwhelm a modern zoo staff, let alone a single family of 8. How did they store enough food and fresh water? How did they manage waste? These are questions that have fascinated people for centuries. Some theories propose that many animals might have entered a state of hibernation, reducing the need for constant care and food. The design of the ark itself, with its multiple levels, could have included sophisticated systems for ventilation, food distribution, and waste disposal that we can only speculate about. After the rain stopped and the waters prevailed for 150 days, God sent a wind to blow over the earth, and the waters began to recede. The ark eventually came to rest on the mountains of Ararat, a mountain range in modern-day Turkey. Even then, Noah had to wait. He sent out a raven, which flew back and forth. Then he sent a dove, which returned with a fresh olive leaf in its beak, a sign that the land was beginning to reappear. Finally, after a week, he sent the dove out again, and it did not return. The earth was dry. Over a year after they first entered, God commanded Noah to leave the ark. He, his family, and all the animals stepped out onto a new, clean world. The first thing Noah did was build an altar and give thanks. In response, God made a covenant, a promise to never again destroy the earth with a flood. The sign of this promise was the rainbow, a beautiful arc of color in the clouds that we still see today, a powerful reminder of this ancient story. Now for the big question. Is there any evidence for a global flood and Noah's Ark? This is where science and faith often diverge. Geologically, there is evidence of massive, localized floods in ancient history, particularly in the Mesopotamia region where the story is believed to have originated. Flood myths are also incredibly common across different cultures worldwide, from the Epic of Gilgamesh in ancient Mesopotamia to stories from indigenous peoples in the Americas. Many of these tales share striking similarities with Noah's story. A divine warning, a chosen family, a great flood, and the survival of humanity and animals on a boat. Could these stories all point back to a single real event, a collective memory of a cataclysmic flood that impacted early human populations? While most scientists argue that there is no geological evidence for a single, planet-covering flood, the persistence of these stories is fascinating. As for the Ark itself, the search continues. For decades, explorers and archaeologists have scoured the slopes of Mount Ararat, hoping to find remnants of the legendary vessel. There have been numerous claims of sightings and discoveries of wood fragments and boat-like formations. But so far, none have been definitively verified as the remains of Noah's Ark. The mountain is vast and difficult to explore, covered in glaciers and subject to harsh weather, making any search a perilous undertaking. But whether you view the story of Noah's Ark as literal history, a powerful allegory, or a cultural myth, its message remains profound. It's a story about faith in the face of ridicule, about hope in the midst of destruction, and about the promise of a new beginning. It speaks to the idea of preservation, of carrying the best of the old world into the new. It challenges us to think about our own responsibility to care for the world and its creatures. The Ark represents a vessel of salvation, a symbol that even in the darkest of times, there is a path to survival and renewal. The story has inspired countless works of art, literature, and film, and it continues to capture our imagination. It forces us to ask big questions about our origins, our purpose, and our relationship with the world around us. What do you think? Was the Ark a real historical vessel, or is it a timeless story meant to teach us a deeper lesson? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more explorations into the greatest stories ever told.